Enhanced automation with WebdriverIO. Utility belt. Tools every STED superhero needs. We will first start off by adding in a couple of Chrome extensions. Go to the extension store and type in Selectors Hub. This allows us to find locators very easily if you're not used to doing that in XPath or CSS. We add the extension and then we'll go back to get another extension called Edit This Cookie. This will allow us to clear out our cookies that have been stored easily on our page. So let's give an example of why Edit This Cookie is so important. I've got our website we'll be using later on for some challenges. And I'm going to go and close this pop-up. But oh, wait, I wanted to go and take a look at the button that was on that pop-up by inspecting it, but it's gone. And if I hit the refresh button on this, it never comes back. So that's where we use the Edit This Cookie, and we go and just hit the trash bin on all the cookies that were picked up while we were there. And then I go back over here and hit the refresh, and there is our button that we can go and inspect and get information for in order to build some good locators. We add Edit This Cookie, and then finally we will click the push pin icon to be sure add-ins are displayed on our browser. Now let's go install Node. We just simply click the installer for whichever operating system you have. It will download Node. The latest version is currently 18, and we will simply install Node. Once it's complete, click the Finish button. Press any key to continue until the command prompt closes. Now let's go check and see if this is going to work. We'll first look at our variables in our environment. It should have been automatically added. Go to our environment variables and check the path. At the very bottom you'll see that program files Node.js has now been added to our path. Next, we're going to add a new folder for our projects. These are our GitHub repos. So I'll add a folder called repos. Now, there could be a bunch of different repo projects you have, so we're going to have a new folder and call this one the WDIO project. Inside of there, we'll have our projects for checking in and out of the GitHub or GitLab if you're more familiar with that process as well. I'm going to go through GitHub and we'll go and sign up and sign in for a project here. Now I'm going to go and get GitHub Desktop now. This allows us to do commits and work with our code to ensure that it is being checked in and checked out properly. It's a little easier to do this than using the command line interface. We'll go and configure Git to allow us to set up our project. We enter in our email. I'm putting in the Dark Arts Wizard at gmail.com. You would enter in your own email. Click the Finish button, and now we're ready to go. We'll go and clone a repository from the internet. And we can go find it under the Pack Publishing, Test Automation with WebdriverIO, and we select what path we want it to be stored in. Click Clone. Next thing you know, the cloning has completed. And we can see our current branches, the different chapters, our history. It's a very good tool for using. It will also automatically take your code changes and put them into a stash and will remind you when that stash is about to be overwritten. Next, we're going to install Visual Studio Code. We downloaded from code.visualstudio.com. accept the agreement, accept the default path, and select all the defaults for the installation. We'll see that it's extracting out Visual Studio Code, and we're ready to launch. We'll go and open up that folder that we checked out. And we should see our project appear with all of the files that are set up. Now it says that Git wasn't installed, so we're going to go and install Git for Windows. Download the latest version as of this recording, 2.41.0, 64-bit. Select the default path and the default settings. Here we want to use whichever the version of the editor that we want to use. In this case, we're using Visual Studio as the default editor. Click Next. You can rename the default master branch to main or whatever other name you want. Again, we'll add Git to our path environment. And the rest is going to be set at the defaults. Now that we're done, we'll launch Git. We have some release notes there. And you can see code has helped us set up the installation automatically for us. We're going to go and launch two different shells. PowerShel comes up by default, and JavaScript debug will come up as well in case we want to stop at a certain point. So now we're going to test to make sure that Node is working correctly by typing node-v. However, we've got an error. Not too much of an error here. All we need to do is reboot the computer. So we'll be right back. Now that we've rebooted, we will run this node again, and presto, you've got version 18.16 installed. The next configuration is to make some changes in order to ensure that we have good code being written. So let's take for this, for example, I've got a method out here. It is telling me that that's kind of long. Now, also it's got some errors in it because nothing's really generated there, so I can easily fix that by clicking on Quick Fix and add all missing methods. So now we've got some methods for that particular item. But if I go and format it, nothing really changes. So I'm going to go and add in a couple of extensions. So the first extension that I'm going to add is going to be Prettier. Prettier will help us set our code with tabs and make it look much more visibly appealing automatically, so we don't have to do it on our own. You can also install Prettier ESLint. This helps us find bad code inside of TypeScript and resolve it. So let's take a look at how this works. I go down to Format Document, nothing happens, but if I do Format Document With, it'll ask me which one do I want to use, and all of a sudden my method has been refactored to a nice looking setup. And we'll go to another extension called GitLens. Now GitLens will tell us exactly who changed the code. You could try to enforce having everyone put their name to their code if you're working on a team by putting it into the code itself. Much easier way to do this is having GitLens turn on. You can see that I made this code change about 2 seconds ago for this video, and about 3 weeks ago I made changes to the rest of the method. You know exactly who did it and what was the branch that was committed in order to make those changes. GitLens, a really good tool to have with you. So we'll install ESLint for checking our code, and we are good to go. The final change we want to make is to turn on autosave. So I make a couple of changes. We can see them highlighted in green here. If I close the file, we get a message that says, hey, did you want to save this? I actually want to autosave whenever I am working on this. So what I'm going to do is go to the file, go to preferences, go to settings, and up here in settings, I will type autosave. This will give me my autosave, and what we want to do is set the change to on window change. Now, more than likely, what's going to happen is when I enter in some new lines of code and I have to come down here to go run it, it will automatically save my file. Now I can close it, and I don't get a pop-up message that says the file was not saved. It's auto-saved.